Hello again. This is the next chapter where we will continue to build our house. The procedural building. We'll continue with the columns now. So my columns are made out of simple boxes. So let's drop a box. We will need to bring in our floors before they were cut. So let's drop in an object merge, and I think our floors before they were cut were here. Copy the points, and let's name these maybe uncut floors. Okay, so these are my uncut floors, right? I'm creating a UV texture at this point here. The value of the box, the height will depend on our I didn't make one box for the height of the building, which you can. It's not different, but the way I did it was getting the resample length from here. Basically my height is 5, right? So I can copy this and paste it to size. This is not the correct axis. No, actually it is, because when we copy without supplying an orient, it's actually gonna spin it. Then I actually, let me open the UV layout. If I go here, select this, go to UV viewport. So this is like this now. So I'm just gonna use a UV layout to lay it out. I believe that should do it. Sorry, UV texture needs to be on face. Okay, I think this kind of does this, right? It's per face. UV layout kind of like packs it down nicely. Okay, I actually use a transform here, probably after I realized that my orientation was not working, because I'm gonna copy these now to points. Okay, anyway, which means that I could have probably just do this, right? If I copy this, do that. If I copy this, do that, because it makes more sense to be on the y-axis, and just go one here, one here. No, actually, I did that wrong, I think. Let me see. No, this is fine. Okay. Anyway, it's just a column that is the height of a floor, to be honest. Now I'm putting a divide swap on my floors, to be equally cut, and I'm gonna put it 10 meters in brick polygons section. Okay, so what this is gonna give me, if I focus here and turn my update on, it's gonna give me that, right? Now, basically I'm gonna say copy to each point. Copy to points. Geometry. Oh, okay, wait. Let's do a 90 here. Yes, that should do. So I have these like big columns now, right? We can play with the values here, but no need. So now I'm gonna group what is not inside my main bounds, right? Check bounds, check bounds. So my second input will go all the way to my remove inside. Okay, I'm just gonna object merge this here as well, instead of making a long connection in let's call it proxy, right? That was our proxy because, which is all the way up here, I believe, here, yes. Okay, let's go here. So this is our proxy, this is our, so as you guys can see, a lot of this will stay outside. I'm not a structural engineer, so I don't actually know how the columns work. I guess they just go upwards. They're thick enough, big enough, strong enough, so they hold the building together. And as you can imagine the rest, that's gonna be a points. We need to, I think, yeah, let's pack this here because we don't want to cut half inside. Let's say, like we don't want to cut the geo, which we could also do a boolean actually, and then pack them after, which is going to give us a bit of a nicer result, I'd assume. Let's try that instead. So in this case, I am going to, how do I pack them after? I can pack them by connectivity. Let's do that, because what's going to happen, what was going to happen was this. We might as well improve it while we're doing the second run, right? Group, delete none. This needs to be packed. This needs to be bounds object. So this is what it's gonna give me. But then most likely I'm going, oh, I won't actually, because, well, yes, see, some floors are not exactly good heights. Actually, we use them and then we extrude them, so there shouldn't be a problem. But let me see if the other is a better option. So this is packed here. Let me unpack. So this guy doesn't break. Let's go here. This is solid. Come on. Okay, let me save. Should have saved when it's on manual. Anyway, so the solid is also solid. What is solid? This is solid. I would like to do an intersection and let it cook. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do it this way before. Kind of makes more sense. Oh, it might though. Half cut some of those guys. Yeah, like it does here. So that's not a column really, right? Okay, let's stick to this. Yeah, let's stick to this. Okay, well, we tried. Not here. Okay, because I kind of packed and blew it, that's why it didn't cut half objects, but it ruled them out. Otherwise it will cut them. So now let's go and unpack them. Okay, we can put an unpack and now call it walls. Oh, sorry, we're gonna unpack. We're gonna put a group now. Call it columns. Let's go here. Call this columns. Okay, the primitive groups. That's fine. Let's create an. Let's actually copy one of these guys. This is ID concrete because it's a column, right? Concrete. ID concrete. There is coverage and not unpacked. Okay, and I think that should be it. Well, yeah, I think that should be it. Okay, now this Boolean object I do again, but only after this section. So let's do another Boolean. Okay, here let's unpack now. So this actually we can do this guy at the bottom then. This goes here. It's already unpacked here. So it's intersect, and now let's do this. Okay, so now we don't have those half cut ones. Also, we don't have, they don't also come out from the proxy shell of our building, and that's now also called out columns. Then we're gonna do the antennas pretty much, and then we're gonna do like a cleanup. So what else? If you're not going to use procedural textures, this is not the part you need because it's overlapping geo. But if you're actually going to, you know, do a bit more extensive UVing, you can probably do a UV flatten here. This might take a little while. Well, maybe not that much. Let's check. Okay, and then probably a UV layout. Okay, let me save because this might take a while. No, it was actually quite fast. All right, so that's obviously very little space for texturing, but you know it's still there on what we can do later on. So what I'm doing now is in my version, I'm actually moving this to, because I'm using multi-UDIMs, so I use this to, I'm moving this to UV space 1003, which is then translating on x-axis by 2 based on UDIM terms. So this is actually 0 to 1, 1 to 2, right? And then there's also 0 to 1, 1 to 2. But in UDIM worlds, it's like this is 1001, 1002. I think this is 1010, 1011, and it goes like that. So I just shift them there because I think later down the pipe, I am offsetting them anyway, and then trying to create a fully UV version that with no overlaps, so you can use that if you need. Well, now we can do, I guess, the antennas. Let's hook this guy up like this. Actually, you know, let's plug this in here. So it's all UV regardless. Okay. Now let's put this guy in a network box as well. So this is our columns, and we just gotta do the antennas now. To make their antennas, we're gonna need everything that is basically kind of like these faces, because antennas don't grow that way, right? So we need to bring our proxy. So let's copy this guy. Then group these. Let's turn the flag here. And let's group these and say roof. Right, we can use the normals obviously to isolate the sections. So we can say keep normal, enable 0, 1, 0, and we just gotta narrow the section, and then we are going to put grouping the opposite as well. Let's call this bottom, and bottom can be, I guess, say, let's call it 75 degrees. Also, I think that should be enough. Now I'm going to put a blast. I'm gonna type here roof and delete not selected. So this should give me, as you can see, the rooftops. Okay. So there's a thing that we need to pay attention to. Stuff like what happens if we have a ceiling on top, something like this, right? So you don't want to plant an antenna right there. For this to work, we can do something like this. We can scatter points on these surfaces. Let's make it, that's probably enough. We can then say, okay, so let's say we scattered points right here. So there's a thing we can do. We can shoot rays from each of these points upwards and find if they hit anything. And if they hit anything, we can then remove them. Okay, so I want to scatter. How many points do I want to scatter? 200 antennas. Okay, then I do a ray. Oh, actually, I think I probably need to bring my floors, because these are not actually my floors, right? So I need to actually bring in my floors. Object merge. I need to snap these points onto my floors. Then I actually need to shoot them up to see if they're actually hitting anything on the floors, because remember, we kind of changed the silhouette as well. This will be the safe silhouette, however. So it was our floor. So you can just, I think because we kept the name same, right? So the reason is that if we usually we now have points up here, but as you can see, we have these spaces, so they're not really accurate. But it's probably okay to use it for removing, because you probably don't want to have an antenna in that little gap as well, right? Or here. So let's do this. Let's first snap these points to down. Okay, so let's do this. Select ray, project rays based on a vector, which is 0, -1, 0. Okay, now the points are on the roof floors. Now let's do something like this. Now let's ray them again. Okay, so collision, sorry, this is wrong, like this. Points on the left, collision on the right, as it says here. So this is just, it shut the, it moved the volumes to snap on the floor surfaces instead of, it was, so probably this guy was here. So it just went down and hit the next available floor. All right, then let's go here and say, bring the new points again. This time, bring the proxy, which is here. Let's see, which one should we use? This full one is fine. Okay, but this time, project rays again, vector, go upwards, but don't transform them. Instead, give me a distance. Okay, so if I look at the distance values, some will be 0. 0 means that I never hit anything. Okay, which means that it's looking up in the sky. Okay, if a distance is not 0, that means that I try to go up and I hit something. Okay, this one is not gonna work also. We need to do something, because now they're gonna hit everything unless we use these floors, but then we're not gonna detect anything that is inside those crevices, if there's any. For example, maybe that guy, maybe that guy. There's one there. So I think we can do something like this. This is not in my original file, but I think this should work. Let me put a null here so I can see my points better. Okay, so then I can say, how can I do this now? Okay, let me think. So we have these points now. We want to check against. If I check against this guy, they go inside, right? Okay. So I need to check this against this guy. Okay, I think we can do something like this. All right, it came to me. These are the points that we want to keep and remove from this group. So we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna give these guys an ID. So then we can use attribute copy to remove them, because we are only moving up and down axes, right, sharply, and because this is how we're arraying them. So we can say I equals antenna ID. I just call it temp ID actually. Temp ID equals I at point number. Okay, so then let's do the same thing like this, but against the proxy. Okay, so these are now going to return. So now we want, so it's going to give us a lot more points with 0 hits. So we just have to remove the ones with the hits, right? So then let's do an attribute wrangle and say this is still with transform points off. Okay, so if f at distance is equal to 0, it means I'm not hitting anything. Is not equal to 0. Sorry, which means that it's hitting something. Remove point 0 at point number. Okay, so it's gonna remove whatever is probably hitting upwards in shadow of something. So I need to confirm that. Hopefully this is correct. There's a point some places that I'm not entirely sure. This guy looks like it would hit something. Okay, not entirely sure. Okay, that's weird. So this should be hitting some objects up here, right? Did I do the opposite? Yeah, this looks like it will hit. I think I removed the opposite. Let me see. Let's do a little quick visibility check. Something really tall. Copy to points. Not you. Okay, and then merge. This needs to go up 50 units. No. Just trying to put, which one? This one? Yes. Just trying to put a, just trying to make sure that this is working by. Okay, so these two shouldn't exist because they go through there, right? So that's what I'm trying to figure out, and it shouldn't have, based on what we did here. Let's debug this. So I have my collision object. I have some points here, right? And they are here. And now this dot specifically, or these two, let's debug these by isolating them. Even this guy. Okay, it's not focusing like that. Let's go here again. Where was it? Where were you? Maybe here. I can't find it now. Okay, here. This section here. Okay, was it here? Yes. I could just find it like this. Okay, here as well. Okay, let's check this guy out. So I have a point here that is shooting upwards, and it's giving me a point intersection distance. So if I select this specific dude, which shouldn't exist because it has a ceiling on top. Delete non-selected. So this is returning a distance of 0. I wonder if it's because the ray needs to have there's no max distance, so this should not return 0 because it's hitting something. It should be hitting something because it has a floor on top. Maybe this is a bug. I'm not sure now. Let's see. I have to solve this. This doesn't make sense. Okay, so you see ray direction is upwards on vector y, and this is a point where when I shoot it upwards, it should hit here and should return the distance based on documentation, and says I am hitting an object at this height, but it's not. I wonder if it's something to do with polygon density. There's no. Okay, let's think again. This is the ray points. These are my points. Or maybe it has a. No, there's nothing here. Okay, and this is my collision object. Correct. This should return me the distance here. Let me pin this. And it's point intersect for the surface. Okay, I guess this needs to be on because it's limiting itself by the distance, but now it's, I think now it's gonna work. Let's see it again. This, honestly, I didn't know. That's gone. Okay, so now I only have now I only have, nothing is being spawned if it's going to hit something on top. All right, so we can get rid of this. So now this is working. Let's give it a, but now, because these are not in the original positions, right? But these are. So now we can say, where's my, let me undo this. Sorry, I just need that guy actually. So now we can, because they are matching, they're matching points, and they actually have both an temp ID. So now I can say attribute copy, right? And I can say, so they're not matching. Yeah, they're matching numbers. There's a, I think there's more than one way to do it. So I can say, hey, use copy the temp ID and not use temp ID to copy values and copy distance, and then remove what's needed to be removed. So I think here should be 200. Here is 138. So what is it? 62 of them. Is it 62? 40, 60, yeah, are hitting something on top. Or we could actually also do this, I think. No, this is the way to do it, because we need to still remove the ones that are hitting. I mean, we can remove it from here, then do an attribute match, but it's not necessary. Okay, let's call it remove ceiling collided. Ceiling collided. Okay. And now we're going to create an attribute randomize on these points. We're going to give them a name called scale. And these are the antenna values that works in real world. No, I'm kidding. They're just random values that makes long, thin objects. What I do now is an antenna shape. So let's put a box Okay, the box, these are my dimensions. Okay, and let's create an attribute wrangle. Sorry, attribute create. Let's just copy this one. This, I named them ID metal. You're not gonna get much into the shading part, apart from just setting up base shaders, but they can come handy. So what I'm doing here in my shape is, let's focus on our object. I'm going to create a group here. Okay, and I'm going to say, oh sorry, not like this. I'm going to select the top part in primitives. Okay, and I'm going to group it. I'm going to name this group top. Then I'm going to extrude it using this group, poly extrude. Just a small portion, small amount, but using the top group. Okay, something like this. And these can stay. I need these groups, so I might use them. And now I'm going to copy this guy, put it here. I'm going to call this emissive. It's almost like as if there's a bulb there. And what I want is these groups, extrude side and top. So these are the groups we need to work with. And ID emissive. Okay, let's copy this as well. And now to see what it did, we can put a color swap. Right, it's on primitives. So if you look at the primitives right here, you can say, give me a random color based on this attribute, which is emissive. It doesn't show, so we have to type it. Material. Okay, it's just that, so we can put some emissive thing here in the renders that can just like, you know, flash or something. Okay, because an antenna, and on top of the antenna there's something. All right. Now I think that's pretty much it. We have temp ID. You know what? Let's rename it to antenna ID. Okay, and now we're just gonna copy the points. Primitive points. I think we need to rotate this guy. Is it on the one? No, they're not. Okay. Which way up? This way up? No. Maybe we did the randomize in the wrong order, because they need to be pointing up, not down. Okay, let's do this. That should work. If there's a will, there's a way. Not this one. Not this one. Oh, it's actually okay. I'm just gonna play with these ones then. So let's call this 20. Let's call this 1. Okay. Let me get my settings. Okay, I had the normal attribute here that was messing with things up. So just clear that up, and finally, just give it a group. Call it antenna. Antennas. They need to be packed. They can be packed. Actually, I think I'm gonna pack all of them after if I need to do any other cleaning up. Okay, so let's put a null. Let's call it out antennas. Okay, let's network box this. Okay, let's have a look where we are at now. Let it cook. That's gonna take a little long. I'm gonna pause it now. Okay, so it finished cooking. At the moment we are at 500,000 poly, and a building from future. Okay, we'll obviously get back to this in detail a bit more. There's a few things that we need to adjust and change, but at the moment this is what we have. We have antennas, we have some weird structures here and there. These are, we are going to close in the when we, because we made it single-sided, because at this point we can only use it for rendering, so we don't necessarily need to have the additional geo, but when we fracture it, we will add the necessary detail on top. Okay, and this will be the end of this lesson. The next lesson we're going to bring all of these guys here as I'm doing now, but we're going to do a little cleanup, and there's some parts that I think we may need to double check for intersections, and but however I'm going to save now. I'm going to save as part 5 also. Next one will be part 5, because what we want to have a look as well, we can do something like this cool. You can say cut the entire thing on single axis from center, so you can have a look at the interior. And as you guys can see, we have this nice interiors as well with doors, and I think those are windows. There's a window that is looking to the elevator shaft, so maybe it's an elevator area, I don't know. And we even have lights and living spaces and space meet air parking slots. Okay, I'm gonna end this lesson. Oh, actually, just before I do that, let's put a color, because we should have material, right? We have some empty space which we have to figure out which one, but let's put a color swap. Let's color by material, random from attribute. Let's name here material. Okay, so there's some empty parts which we will figure out, but so we also have separate material IDs for glass, metal, concrete. I think it's these guys missing, or these guys missing, because they are, I think, different objects, but they have the same color. Anyway, see you in the next lesson. Thank you for watching.